Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you know how serious I am about my lawnmower blades. I talk about it all the time, and you guys have let me know that there are several brands out there that I should give a try because you've had good experience with them. So I decided, what a better way to find out which blades are the best than to do a test. So I ordered up a whole bunch of blades that you guys suggested, and today we are going to find out which blades are the best for commercial mowing. We have our assortment of test blades that we are going to be trying out to find out which one of these is actually the best blade for mowing. Let's meet our contestants. All right, before we introduce the contestants, I will let it know that all these blades are for my 61-inch Scagg. So these are the model numbers you use for a 60 or 61-inch cut. These are all 21-inch blades. First up, we have to keep the OEM in check. So we're going to try out a set of the standard blades that come on a Scagg, which are the standard lift cutting blades, and these are a part number of 482879, and these cost $67 for a set of 3. Next up, also an OEM product. These are the Scagg high lift cutter blades, part number 481712, and these are very expensive. These are $136 for a set of 3. But these are the blades everyone runs when they make those pretty stripes, those high lift blades. Look at that, it's almost straight up and down. I'm actually really excited about testing these Scagg blades because I remember when I first got the mower, I was so impressed with how great the mower mowed. I just couldn't justify the cost of a brand new Scagg blade because they are almost double the price of the other blades you can replace them with. Next up is the Oregon Standard Lift Replacement Blade. This is part number 91626, and it is a standard lift blade, and these cost $34 for a set of 3. And then we have the Oregon high lift blade. You can see it's not as aggressive as the Scagg, but it's pretty much straight up and down. It's part number 91628, and these cost $51 for a set of 3. And last but not least, we have the most requested blade of any blade in our entire video series, the Oregon Gator G6 blades, part number 396727, and these cost $64 for a set of 3. These look real aggressive, and they're very heavy. They're also got the mulching tips, so I'm actually curious at how well these work. But I do like how wide they are and how heavy they are. So far, probably the most heavy duty of all the blades that we've picked up. And our last contestants are gonna be from Ballard products. These are the Ballard high lift blades. These cost $64 for a set of 3. They look pretty good. They have this extra little wing at the end, so I'm actually curious as how well these will do. They're not as wide or as heavy as the other high lift blades. And last but not least, I was on the Ballard website and they had these blades called the Mow Shetties. They don't have a lot of lift to them, but they are very heavy and they're 3 inches wide. Part number is CH3-8-21. I'm actually curious about these because where I'm gonna be testing them, they claim that these will do a great job for that type of grass. And we're gonna put all these blades through the extreme test because I have the perfect property to find out which blades are actually the best. And since I was on the Ballard website, before I checked out, I noticed that they had the X-Blade brackets. So I went ahead and ordered up a set of X-Blade brackets and new spacers for my Scagg so I can find out if running 2 sets of blades in an X pattern actually helps or hurts the mower, especially in the thickest of grass. Now that you've met all the blades we're gonna be testing, let's go check out the test property. You guys are gonna be impressed with the property I chose to put all these blades to the test. Having the right blades on my mower has been the biggest game changer in my business. There is a finite amount of time that I can work each day and earn money for my company. And having the right blades allows me to cut more properties per day and utilize my time more efficiently, meaning I can complete more jobs each and every day and earn more revenue per hour. You guys like money, right? Well, why wouldn't you ensure that your equipment is set up to earn you the most you can each and every day. Changing blades is just one of the many things we do to ensure that we are maximizing our time. What if I told you the biggest improvement for time and efficiency has nothing to do with blades or the equipment we run for our company? What if I told you you could fully automate the admin side of your business to work for you while you focus on running and growing your business? Imagine coming home after a hard day of work only to spend hours each night taking care of the admin side of your small business. What if you could just come home and focus on the things that matter most, like spending time with your family? What if you could save time and money while controlling your entire business in one convenient location? No more using pen and paper and what you can remember up here. Now you can handle quoting, scheduling, invoicing, and payments all from your cell phone throughout the day while you're working. What if you could send quotes and follow up emails so you can close jobs faster? What if you could get paid faster? By accepting credit cards, you can get paid on time, every time, as soon as the job is complete. What if you could create custom branded quotes and invoices? Not only would you look professional, but you would impress your customers. What if you could set up automated emails and text message reminders to collect deposits from customers, let them know when service is coming up, let them know when the job's complete, and most importantly, to submit an invoice and get paid for your hard work? What if I told you you could wake up every morning and check your schedule for the day and know that your route is fully optimized to ensure you're maximizing all your time throughout the workday? Now, what if I told you all this can happen in the background while you focus on running your business, all without hiring an employee? Well, you can have all of that right there by letting Jobber run your business while you focus on what really matters. And if all that wasn't enough to get you on board, Jobber has taken the admin side of your business to the next level with the new AI receptionist. Tired of missing phone calls because you're busy running your business? Let the new AI receptionist take care of that for you. The new AI receptionist will answer phone calls instantly, even outside business hours. It's fully customizable, never calls in sick, and works 24/7 for your business. We live in a time where customers need instant answers and you need less interruptions throughout your working day. Let the new AI receptionist take care of that for you. Every missed phone call is not just an interruption, it's a missed opportunity to earn revenue. Interested in learning more about the new Jobber AI receptionist? Check the link in the description below. It is available with the Grow Plan. We know running the admin side of any business can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. Jobber is now offering a 14-day free trial, so you can truly experience what it's like to have all your time back and focus on what really matters. Once again, thanks to Jobber for sponsoring this video and their continued support of this channel. Now, let's go check out the test yard. Welcome to the test yard. And by test yard, I mean giant overgrown fields. This is what we're going to be using to test our blades today. You can see I made a few passes to clean it up so we have some work area, but that is the grass we're using. You're probably saying, that's a little overkill, Kevin. Why are you using that grass? Well, would you believe me if I told you I mowed this 14 days ago? This is how fast grass grows in Texas. And this is what it looks like every 14 days. So this is the type of grass that I typically find myself mowing, especially for my bi-monthly customers. When they want it every other week, this is what it looks like. That is why I spend so much time making sure I have the right blades on my mower so that I can cut this as fast as I possibly can with that right there. And for our test, we're using a Scagg Tiger Cat 2 61-inch deck. It's got a 36 horsepower Briggs & Stratton Vanguard engine. It's a beast. But before we get started, to give you a frame of reference, I'm going to cut one pass, the first pass right here, with the blades that are on my mower. These blades were on my mower for one day yesterday. They mowed 7 hours, and this is the result of 7 hours of mowing in the country. So about 10 acres of mowing yesterday, and you will see these blades are not the blades I would use to mow this. I'm going to try to mow as fast as I can for the conditions. So the goal here for the blade testing is I'm going to put brand new blades on, make a pass. We'll talk about how good it discharges, how good it cuts, what it does to the clippings, did it bog the mower down, you know, all the good mowing stuff. And I'm going to try to mow as fast as I can. I'm going to do my best to go almost full speed, but I know that won't be a very good test to go full speed through grass like this. So I'm just going to try to go as fast as I can mow, and then we'll see which blade does the best. But for reference, we're going to show you what a dull set of blades does on this grass right here. This is a perfect example of why I change blades so much. Look how terrible the cutting job was. there's 2 lines, one right here and one right here, of grass that it's missing. Y'all see that? And that is why I changed blades, because that shouldn't happen, and it doesn't happen. If I were to change blades right now to some sharpened blades, one pass, it'd be good. You can see there's actually not a ton of discharge, and that's mostly because it's not really cutting everything. So I'm only cutting about maybe 75%, 80% of the grass. There's still a lot of grass there to be cut. And that's what happens when you have dull blades. So now in order for it to look good, I need to turn around and make a backwards pass to get the rest of that. Now, let's start our blade test. All right, the first blade up is the Scagg Standard OEM standard lift blades. The ones that come on the mower. You can see it's still not perfect, but it's way better than the dull blades. You can still see you had the 2 little streaks right there. You see it right there? You see some missing right there? And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you have to go the right speed for the conditions. So I'm going a little fast right now, but the test is to see which blade does better at a high rate of speed, because that's why you buy a Scagg. You want to be able to go as fast as you can, especially when you're cutting 6, 7, 8 acres. You want to be able to cover it in one pass as fast as you can. So you can see right there, that's not perfect, but it is better than the dull blades. All right, guys, the next blade up is the Scagg high lift blades. Almost a straight up and down wing. I'm actually curious how well these do in grass that thick. I hear these are the blades that everybody runs when they want to make those crisp stripes, but we're not trying to stripe, we're just trying to cut really tall grass. All right, so the Scagg high lift blades, I will tell you, when you engage the PTO, it's definitely a greater sound of the blades turning. It feels like it's really sucking, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like there's a lot of suction, and you can hear it on the mower. The cut, however, I would say it's slightly better, but you still see the 2 lines right there. But here's what it did different. It seemed to really spit the clippings out. So we have equal clippings here, here, and even clippings all the way out to here. So it spread them out better across 3 paths next to it. Now, between each test, I've been mowing this to make sure there's no clippings there so we can see how it does for the next set of blades. But that was the first time it threw it evenly all the way across three stripes. So it's from here to here, it just spread it out pretty good. I will say the high lifts made the mower bog down a little bit. I heard the mower lug down, and it actually tried a little bit. So the high lifts obviously are creating more drag because of the 90-degree angle, and with this grass this big, it did put the motor to a little bit of a test. All right, next blade up, the Oregon standard lift replacement blade. I've actually had pretty good luck with these, so we'll see how they do when we put them to the test. So the Oregon's cut very much like the Scagg standard lift. It's not doing a very good job. You see all the grass? It's missing, and you have the 2 distinguished stripes right here and right here. So far, the Scagg high lift blades cut the best, even though they bogged the mower down the most. But as you can see right here, these standard lift blades just aren't doing a great job. Well, at least not the speed we're going. Before this test, we're gonna try to go as fast as we can just to see what blade performs the best. All right, guys, the next blade up is the Oregon high lifts. You can see they're not quite as aggressive as the Scaggs, but they're up there. They're almost straight up and down. I imagine these are gonna cut very similar to the Scagg high lifts. Plus, they feel pretty heavy duty. They're very heavy, and they're 3 inches wide. So the Oregon high lifts are almost identical cut to the Scagg high lifts, except for they cost half the price. That would be the only way I would ever go to the Scagg, is because they were given to me free, because why pay double the price unless of course it lasts twice as long. But you can see the high lifts still don't have a perfect cut. Still not a perfect cut. But just like the last high lifts, it did a very good job of spreading the clippings across 3 rows. So instead of just throwing it in the first 2, it threw it all the way to the 3rd one. Also, you could hear the motor bog down a little bit in that grass. So the high lifts definitely create more friction, more drag, more something that whenever you get in that big grass, it's having to work harder to get through it. Does a really good job of spreading it and does the best job of actually cutting it. Now I know what you're saying, you're going too fast, you're going too fast. Well, any blade would look good if you go slow. The purpose of this test is which blade cuts the best at the fastest possible speed. Next up is the most requested blade I should try. It's the Oregon G6 blades. These are kind of a medium lift, but they have the mulching wings on them, and they are the most heavy duty. They're very heavy. This is the heaviest blades we've been running. So I'm actually curious, does the mulching fins actually help? We don't have a mulching baffle on our machine, so we'll see. What does it do to the grass? Does it mulch it up more, or does it throw it further? Does it spread it out? We'll find out. Okay, the G6 blades, not very good at cutting, at least not at speed. You can see there's a lot of grass left right here. You can see the distinct lines right there of grass it's just missing. But it felt weird when mowing, almost like I wasn't cutting anything, like the opposite of a load on the motor. It felt like there was no load on the motor. And I don't know if that's because it's not really cutting the grass, it's just mulching it or slicing through it. The clippings they're very fine out here, and they didn't go 3 rows. They only went in the first 2, and they're very fine, like they're being mulched up more. This is one of those things, I'm not sure if that's the best test for a mulching blade, seeing how I don't have baffles on the mower, but it doesn't cut very well. It doesn't cut very well at all, especially in big grass like this. It does, however, do a good job of mulching the clippings up, but it doesn't throw them as far from the machine. Whereas the high lifts were in the 3rd row, the mulching blade only goes right here in the first 2 rows next to where you cut. These next blades, I'm not really sure what opinion I have on them, except for the fact they might do well for the kind of soil I have around here for longevity. But these are the Ballard Mow blades, and they specifically say they are good for cutting the grass we're in right now. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the no lift. If it's anything like our test results, the less lift, the less job it does cutting. Also, it's got these weird teeth on the back, so that's kind of like a mulching blade. So if I had to guess based on our results right now, these might do the worst, even though they're advertised as doing the best for that kind of grass. So the Mow-Shettys did it about like we expected. Not a very good job of cutting and not a very good job of getting rid of clippings. So as you can see right there, there is the row. You can see 1 path and 2 path. It's not doing a very good job of cutting the grass, leaving 2 streaks. Also, there's the clippings. Because it's sort of a mulching but sort of not, it kind of just threw them right here next to where you just mowed. So I'd say 2 rows over, but did not mulch it up very well. So it's very tall, very thick still. I guess I could see the only upside to those, if you were cutting a lot of very overgrown grass and you didn't care how it looked, you just want to make tall grass short, those would probably be a good option. And because they're so heavy duty, they might last a really long time. But if you're trying to cut yards to look good, those blades aren't that good, especially on overgrown grass like this. One more look. 1, 2, you can see the streaks. And the clippings, they didn't go far. We are almost done. This is second to last. These are the Ballard High Rise. They're basically high lift blades, but they have an extra little wing at the end. So they're not straight up and down, they have more of a flare. I'm actually curious how these work because they're pretty affordable when you compare them to the high lifts of the Oregon and the Scagg. They're not as heavy duty though. They do not feel as heavy as the other 2. All right, I think we have a winner. The Ballard high lifts with a little extra wing, they're not perfect, but they've done the best job of every blade we've used so far. Same characteristics as the other high lifts. It threw the clippings about 3 layers over, spread them out really good. They're very thin, but you can see it's not perfect. There's still some stragglers sticking up like you always have
with Bahia. For you guys that don't cut Bahia, you don't know what you're missing out on. Now, we have one more bonus setup to test. And it's one of those ones that the internet either decides they love it or they hate it. For our final test, it's what the internet totally disagrees on. I'm gonna try the X-Blade, and to use it, I'm gonna do a Scagg Eliminator mulching blade on top and a Scagg OEM medium lift blade on bottom. This is one of those things. If you ask the internet, you absolutely should not do this to your mower. It's gonna destroy your mower. The people that get mad about this are the same guys that get mad if you take the guard off your weed eaters or if you try to edge with a weed eater at all. So anyway, we're gonna try this out and see, does the internet hate this, or is this actually a good idea? Like, because if this works, why wouldn't we do it? Well, I hate to say it, but the X-Blade that the internet hates, that does a pretty good job, I'm not gonna lie. That does a pretty good job. Look at that right there. That's probably the best cut I've had in all my tests. The clippings, it's weird. In parts, it made them almost disappear. In other parts, they're very thin and laid out. But it's kind of like a 2.5, so it didn't quite make it to the 3rd level, but it's like 2.5, but it does a pretty good job of spreading them. It does the best job of cutting. But I'm not gonna lie, when you engage the PTO, you know that there's more moving mass down there, and the mower did bog down the most with the X-Blades on when cutting that grass. Is it the best for your mower? Probably not, because it feels like a lot of rotating mass, and you can hear the motor bog down a little bit whenever you hit the grass. But it sure does cut pretty good. That right there, you can't argue with science. The best cut of the day came from doing what the internet says you're not supposed to do. So what did we learn with this test today? Well, that I was probably going way too fast, but the idea of the test was to see which blade cuts the best at speed. Sure, I could have gone slow, and all these blades would have done a really good job because they're brand new, but I wanted to see at speed which one did a better job, because when you mow commercially, it's all about speed and how fast can you do a job. That being said, if I had to choose a blade to finish this job, I'm probably not going with the X-Blades because I have my nice Scagg blades on there and I don't want to destroy them doing this. I'm probably going to go with the Ballard high lifts or the Oregon medium lifts because they do a pretty good job. The high lifts and the medium lifts is what I normally use. The other ones I just wanted to find out, do they actually do a better job? But me, I cut a lot of Bahia grass that looks just like this, and I really dislike making 2 passes because it's like you're basically cutting the whole yard twice, but you're only getting paid to cut it once. That's why I always preach, have the best blades you can for the job you're doing, because if you reduce your time by half, it's like you're doubling your money for your time invested. This is a 6-acre property and it's not gonna cut itself. So I think I'm gonna go change those blades out to those Ballard high lifts or those Oregon medium lifts, put my earbuds in, and I'm gonna go cut some acres. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.